Oh, man. Well, we'll give this game to you raw, stripped of anything else other than the real facts, because the first game is a certified tasty affair. BDS versus Cyclops. Des, I'm going to start off with you on this one, just because I know in your mind you must be thinking, here we go, more Cyclops, right? You got to be excited for this game.
You know me too well by now, Jackie. 3 days and you're already turning into a mind reader. Absolutely. Cyclops, my dark horse of this competition. Almost guaranteed to make it out of groups, but they do need to find themselves with a couple of points somewhere here today. Same story for BDS. They're both on 9 points. The winner of this game should, and I'm pretty sure do, find themselves completely safe. They cannot be taken out of the top two by Team 1. So if they want to have a nice day and enjoy day 3, get the sun in their face, the wind in their hair later on up on the roof terrace after they've had this first game, this is the time to show up and really make it count. BDS look phenomenal, though. It's not going to be an easy feat for Cyclops, but you also can't count Cyclops out because they have warmed up as this tournament has gone by. It's a real clash between EU and APAC North, the two regions that Tim and I cover day in, day out. It's like watching your two kids fight each other, but you just can't look away at the same time.
You can't break it up. You've just got to let it happen, but you can really root for the one you love more. Tim, we'll start off with BDS, the EU side here, coming into this with BDS. Based off what we saw yesterday, having an unlucky game where they lost out in the end in close line off the back of the 1 round in OT. What are we expecting from them? Are they going to be coming back in fresh here, wiping the dirt off their shoulders, Tim?
I think they will. BDS are going to want to carry a lot of momentum forward into the playoffs. They had a great start. Day 1, 7-3, 7-4, beating Cyclops, beating Team 1. They've already had that win against Cyclops, and I think they're going to come in here looking for total domination across both matchups. But we've got to remember, these APAC teams, Jackie, they've built a lot of momentum over the last couple of days, so it's not going to be easy for BDS. I just want to throw a quick stat in here. You know I love my numbers. You know I love a good stat. I'm going to be careful because I'm sure people will want to get aggro with me on Twitter about this because of the numbers, so I'll frame it very carefully. Context is important, but right now APAC are the most winning region here at the major, and that is absolutely unreal. They are on a 66% win rate. The closest to them, 57% for Latin America. The one caveat I throw in there is, of course, that APAC have 1 team fewer, so there are fewer games there. But their record is 8 wins, 4 losses, where LATAM is 8 wins, 6 losses. So it's, we have to take that with a little bit of caution. Those couple of extra games, you don't know how they could have gone. But even still, it maybe leaves them, joint top? Unreal performance from them. And BDS, they're going to have to bring their best here if they want to best Cyclops again.
It will not be easy whatsoever. It's ridiculous, some of the plays we've seen coming out from all of our APAC teams, right? The community has been out in force, Des. Everyone's been screaming. And someone that had us screaming yesterday as well for BDS was, of course, Day. Let's have a look at some of this madman's highlights, because, Des, he was a walking reel of destruction.
It's unbelievable. I flicked across to the A stream just for a couple of moments to see what was going on, and in that moment, Day pulled off a 1v3 clutch against the Sonics.
Honestly, you could tune in at any moment and see that. That's the reality.
That is true. This is the thing, right? Day is really what epitomizes BDS and me, is that every single player on this team is an out-and-out gunner. And Tim's kind of spiced up the timeline. You know what, Tim? I'll double down on that. And I always wanted to say to you when you were saying it, first time, Tim. Here's my probably 27th time at doing so. For my money, BDS have got the highest sum total of skill on this team than any other team in the world. All 5 players on the right day are absolute fraggers, and you cannot slow them down. Where they've sometimes been a little bit inhibited is in the more strategical side of things. When teams get up in their face, when they disrupt them, that's when they can shut things down. But all of that is driven forward by the likes of Day. Whether he's the first man in or the last man, you know that he's going to step up and go big. He was huge for them in the first stage of EUL last year, and he is a real rock solid support. And again, for my money, probably the best support in the world right now.
God damn, fighting words. I like to see it. A lot of spice there, a lot of support for BDS, but I'm going to keep it with you, Des, purely because, of course, their opponents are Team Cyclops. Now, in terms of what we're going to see from Cyclops here today, we had glory from them yesterday. They came out looking hot. You told me to be looking out for their gunners, Des. You told me to be looking for those flashy plays, and we saw them back to back. Are we getting more of that today?
I'd be shocked if you don't, Jackie. It's like I said a second ago, BDS's weakness is when a team gets up in their face and makes them sweat in the early round, and Cyclops have been doing that to the level that we have never seen before at international competition. They have made some teams look like ranked amateurs with how confused they've left them, dazed, sucker punched almost by the Giants coming out of Cyclops. It's just one of those that you look at it and you look at names like Gatorada, like Blackray. They're the two that have been doing all the heavy lifting for them. And it was interesting because yesterday we said Iagate has been really quiet this tournament, yet was top ranked for them in APAC Stage 2. I don't know if it's a thing of like land for him and he's still kind of starting to fit into his shoes a little bit here, get a feel for how he should be playing. If he turns on today, this team can beat BDS, I think, especially if they're all really up and firing. I'm just worried that if there's only one or two of them playing well, on the side of BDS where you've got 5 potential gunners, it might be a little bit of a war, but don't count Cyclops out. If they get this win here and they're the first team to go through from this group, there is going to be pandemonium on the timeline.
It'll be blowing up. I mean, everyone's already been coming out in force, right? We've seen the whole community effectively having an APAC uprising and just saying how much support there is. All of the players as well, supporting each other, getting involved, giving each other's pats on the back, because the results we've had coming out from these APAC teams, finally back on land, finally getting these regional matchups, have been outrageous. Now, someone that can be very outrageous as well, as Dead says, Gatorado. Tim, I want to talk about him a little bit. Yesterday, obviously not as crazy in terms of performance. There was a few other players on the side that stepped up around him, but we know he has that pedigree. Are we going to be seeing it?
I think we will, if I'm honest. Gatorada is one of those players that will go big when it's needed. We've seen it time and time again. I'm just bringing up his stats for the tournament so I can have a quick look at him as well and see how he's going. 1.18 rating, 38 kills so far. So he's certainly not doing badly. We could maybe see a little bit more on the entry, 7 and 5. He's going to get involved alongside Anaton and try to give Cyclops that advantage, and it's going to be something that they need against BDS. And I don't want to be sort of, bringing any sort of prophecies of doom for APAC either. I've been one of the loudest voices shouting these guys up and saying how well they're doing and how capable they are, but we also need to stay calm for the time being, because there is a timeline whereby none of the APAC teams, and it'd be a massive shame after what we've seen, but it is possible that they all slip out of those playoff positions. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The teams need to be grounded. They need to not get ahead of themselves, take each match that is in front of them and win those games.
Because it can be volatile. These groups are not decided yet. We still have so many games to go, not only here on the B stream, but on the A stream as well. A lot of games to get through today. So I suppose we should start working forward to getting this one going. We can get into the veto for it, Des. We finally got your chalet pick yesterday, mate. What are we going to be seeing today?
Oh, I mean, between these two, admittedly, didn't have the numbers up to kind of have a dive through this before we actually got into the veto itself. But based on knowledge, I know that Villa, for example, is not a go-to team for BDS, so expect to see that one taken away. Also, not really one for Cyclops to a massive level. Both teams have banned it away a lot, so if they've been hiding that map, maybe it could be the sort of thing that we head into. Chalet, a really popular one for Cyclops. Can't imagine BDS would want to play it just yet. Don't think we see Coastline. Maybe we see a Consulate. Personally, would really like to see an Oregon between these two teams.
Man, an Oregon. Honestly, it feels like I've never seen Oregon at this point with how long it's been, Tim.
We really haven't, and I got a feeling that Cyclops might ban Oregon. I mean, when you've got a spot on a map named after one of your players, that sort of gives you an idea of what the performances are generally like on that map. So, personally, I wouldn't want to be playing BDS on Oregon. I'm looking towards a potential... wow, BDS have taken Oregon out of the running. So, I'm looking towards a potential Consulate, maybe Kafe. I'm going to edge it towards Kafe, I think.
Okay. Interesting one for me is looking at it for BDS and Oregon. They have played it 4 times. They've lost it 3 of those. And when it comes to how often they've banned it versus had it banned against them, it's 12-7. So it is a map that leans away from them. They are the ones who tend to ban it away in a draft. I was really surprised by that first ban Villa coming out of Cyclops. I know they don't like it, but I would have really liked to see them leave it till a bit later in the ban phase and see if BDS take it away, because BDS detests Villa. They've tried playing it twice this year. They've lost both times. It went back into the archives and it became an instant ban for them every single time. I think you'll probably see Chalet up there as well for BDS because, again, they've only played that once against TSM. They've lost it. That going away makes total sense. And Clubhouse, to be honest with you, it's almost like BDS's backyard, so I completely understand the ban coming out of CAG as well.
So you mean they've got a big safe that they haven't opened in there?
Oh, absolutely, mate. Yeah, they should really get someone around to look at that, shouldn't they?
They really should. You never know, there could be some money in there, but there could still be some money to be made in the 3 maps we have left. 2 now. Coastline taken out of the mix, so nothing outrageous. Consulate and Kafe remain, Tim.
Potential for BDS to keep it's one of those maps sometimes that Kafe will get sort of held back by teams, I think, for best of 3s sometimes. You know, that's where you want to see Kafe cropping up. So BDS might ban it out, but either of these is going to be a great playground. I just want to touch back on that point for Des and how important that is about Villa. You know, there we go. We've got the Kafe, fantastic stuff. Really, it's a great point, Des, because when you're thinking about map bans, you know, you've almost wasted a ban there because you can pretty much rely on BDS to take Villa out. So get rid of something else that you don't want to play. You know, I suppose you don't want to take the risk maybe and think, you know, the BDS just...
That's it.
But I mean, I'm with you. I think it's very unlikely that BDS leave Villa in. And I think, you know, you could probably have gone elsewhere. But Kafe, I think this is going to be a good map for both of them. We've seen good performances out of both teams here.
Here's the interesting thing for me then, Des. Obviously, regional differences between these two sides. As you can see with the win percentage, right? It might look like it's more favoured to Cyclops, but I imagine, obviously, European competition with Kafe, it must play far differently regionally for these two sides, right?
Doesn't it just? I'm very sure Tim will remember a couple of games of Cyclops playing on this map and just how balmy they get. We've seen strats where they'll stick 2 or 3 players inside a piano to hold top floor, for example, and just say if you want it, you're really going to have to fight us for this. So I think BDS are going to meet unparalleled aggression coming out of Cyclops on this map, but both teams are very competent on the map. In fact, it is one of the most banned maps against them, so whenever they play another team, the other teams will always tend to ban away Kafe against both. And between them both, there has only been 1 loss on it in the last 3 months. That was BDS losing against Na'Vi. And that was, of course, on the final play day of the stage, which didn't really matter all that much to BDS. It could have been a little bit of bait just being thrown in there ahead of the Mexico Major. It's one of them ones that I'm really excited to see because it's the unstoppable like force against the immovable object coming up here as well. You know, Cyclops, they get very agile. They make it really hard to even get inside of a map. But BDS, very few teams can stop them when they mean business. And that's what's going to make this game so enthralling to watch.
Well, we'll see if they will be able to mean business once we get into this one. Only a little bit away from kicking off our first best of 1 of the day. Many exciting matchups here, boys. We've been spoiled for choice with some of the games we get to see. I think this is a bang at the start us off, though, right?
I've just seen exactly what Des is talking about.
So I'm looking at the lobby. I was doing a lobby check, right? Because yesterday we had our 45-minute podcast because there were like 3 or 4 players, and we have got 9, so it's good news. But Anaton has got in chat saying morning, and then goes to all caps. Yes, this time is to win for us! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! APAC power! Be careful, other APAC team. So insane. It's like a war.
The passion is flowing. The passion is flowing.
Ace, are you sure this is not a decoy on our stream right now and that is you in that lobby? Because that's the kind of thing I can imagine you like bigging everyone up for as well.
You got to have your hype man, Des. You got to have the hype man in there that's going to big the team up. The thing is, there's going to be a lot of excitement on the side of Cyclops because they could be the first APAC team to lock in a position here. And you better believe that, you know, the players go into the server, everything else goes out of their head, they focus on the game. But for the time spent around it, I'm sure that the APAC players are going to be absolutely loving the wave of support that has been coming out on social media, the excitement surrounding them as teams, and that is going to go some way towards pushing them forward here. They're going to have bounced out of bed this morning, ready to get in, ready to mix it up, and ready to be the one that really stakes the claim, that puts the APAC flag down and says, we've qualified, we're going to the playoffs. I know that I sort of ladled on a little bit of caution earlier to say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I tell you what, I'm going to lay it down now. I'm going to put it out there. There are going to be APAC teams in the playoffs.
Well, in terms of our predictions then for who we thought was going through, let's have a bit of a look and see what we've all gone for. All of us supporting BDS there. Des, we've all gone.
You want to change again, Des?
Mate, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I'll jump. No, it's one of those where I look at it, I think, and realistically, my heart is with Cyclops. I really want them to do well, but my head is with BDS. I know that coming into this game, Cyclops will give a bit of trouble to BDS. We saw on the first play day a couple of rounds where, yep, sure, they challenged them, but BDS are, for my money, one of the best teams in the tournament, at least so far, based on their previous performances. This will be a hard one for Cyclops to win, I think, but as I've always said, I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Well, hopefully we get some exciting surprises from this matchup. We're ready to get underway with our first opening game here. Last day of the Bravo stream for the groups. Let's get into it and start it with a tasty affair, boys.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Tim, big one then to kick the day off. I love how many spicy games we've got. Every single game on the B stream today counts. Everything has a meaningful impact on which teams could potentially be making it out of the groups. And this one is a great one to start because the winner, as we've mentioned already, they are through. They've done it. They've made it to playoffs. And imagine a world. Imagine the timeline and Reddit if Cyclops are the first team to make it out of this group ahead of the likes of BDS, Team 1 and the Sonics.
Just imagine. It'll be a wonderful moment on the timeline, I'm sure. And the thing is, I'm just loving, like I said, the excitement that I'm seeing, not only pouring out of the APAC region. You know, we've got all the fans, we've got the players of the other teams, we've got the talent from the APAC streams all getting behind these teams, which is fantastic to see. But there's also a lot of neutrals. There's a lot of people around the other regions picking up these teams and saying, maybe so long as they're not playing their own teams, you know, yeah, let's have it mixed up, because it's just those surprises. That's what makes it entertaining. That's what makes it fun to tune in. And this one's going to be a good one. I think you're right. I think Cyclops have got a difficult job ahead of them here because BDS have not qualified for the playoffs. And because of that fact, they're going to throw everything at this, and it's not going to be easy for Cyclops to stand up to that.
I mean, look at what's been thrown at the wall already. Zofia ban coming out of Cyclops. The target ban in towards Alems. The resident Zofia main for the side of BDS. Two very standard bans then following in from the side of BDS themselves, the Thatcher and the Valkyrie. This map, as we know, many good external cameras that you can abuse with jump outs. I think for BDS, that's more of an absolute fear of what could come out of Cyclops and should hopefully inhibit that aggression ever so slightly. Still not fully convinced. Maestro going to be the final one taken away. So it's a different kind of unique ban that we don't see taken away all that much these days, Ace.
It's an interesting one. Maestro we see a lot less of, I think, because of the melee possibility, for starters. Anybody who can get near a cam now can just melee the front of that glass. It shatters it. It has to be opened to see anything, and then it can be shot out. So the Maestro cam's a lot easier to deal with now, as are the mirror windows. You got to get a lot more creative with where you put them, basically. You've got to put them up out of reach. You've got to put them somewhere that's not in sort of a public domain, if you will, you know, somewhere that people can't just walk up to it, somewhere that the enemy just can't walk up and just smack it on the nose. So Maestro, yes, seeing a little bit of a lower ban rate. It's the Zofia that interests me though, Des, because it, as you say, targets Alems really. And I was just going to say, we're going to see Alems play Flores. I guarantee it. He's on the board. Zofia's gone. Alems will play Flores. We've seen him play Flores on Kafe before, and it's a very strong operator. If you're going to go for a target ban, we've actually seen the Iana ban be more successful against BDS, because what happened then, you almost target two players, because Shaiko moved on to Zofia, which took Zofia away from Alems, so then he had to move operator, and it sort of juggled everybody about when we saw that ban. And BDS lost that game from memory, if memory serves. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see how the game plays out, we'll see how much of an impact it has. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact here.
No, I mean, especially looking at it as well, because for Alems, like, he's in a spot playing on the Flores. He said in that interview famously he thinks Flores is the strongest operator in the game right now. Sure, it's not the Zofia, it's not the impacts at range, but it's still the destructive capability coming out of that operator that can do a lot of work. Chuck it on soft walls, chuck it on shields, chuck it wherever you feel you might be able to do a bit of damage, and sure enough, you can rain your way through. Extra useful on this side as well, because as we've seen from a good number of APAT teams, and I think it was Meriu on Fab in APAT North that we first saw make good use of it. Pretty much the day after release, he was there using it in a ranked game. Oh no. I mean, that's a nice start.
Well, it's certainly not the end of the world for BDS, is it? Rafal managing to find one onto Gatorada, that player that we had a spotlight on, and I did question those entry stats that he's had so far, and that's certainly not going to be a great start for him, especially losing the pulse Des. That is a lot of information lost that can be fed. You've got a Nitro. Oh, no, he didn't have the Nitro, because Ayagator has the Nitro, and there's only... No, there's three listed up at the top. Sorry, I was looking at deployable shields for a second. Boys. So you've lost the Nitro, you've lost your heartbeat scanner, you've lost Anna to a Shaiko grenade, and it all comes immediately into that ban that I talked about, Des. If Shaiko's not on Iana, he doesn't have grenades.
I know, it's always one to think about here. Now shield stats up as well on at the bottom of White Stairs. So something to try and slow down BDS if they come pushing in. You got to think about the difference this kind of introduces, because for BDS, they're not going to be used to someone swinging you inside a piano out of fear of someone being on windows. EU players will just sit inside a cigar shop and be nice and passive. But what you saw was Anderton looking to get mobile, get aggressive, get a bit jiggy with it, and try and cause some trouble. Sure enough, gets caught out by the nade. Same with that first story of Gadarada jumping out of a window. BDS has survived the early onslaught from the side of Cyclops and walked away with 2 kills off the back of it. Really good first round for the French side.
Yep, they're not looking too bad at all. They're going to have top floor control, and that will create a situation where they can start getting that vertical superiority, open up those angles that we see so often used down into reading. Renshiro will go in there with the sledge. Fortunately, that wasn't the operator that they lost, so he'll be able to still do his work. Shaiko just looking to push in onto Cocktail now. Out comes the Nitro from Suzushi, but won't manage to hit the target. It's a great effort from the hatch onto the window, but we have a BDS side that are switched on here, and they were ready for that one.
Got some more work to do here, though, mind you. It is in the 4 versus 3 with about 35 seconds to play, and we know Cyclops can do some magic. C4 in hand. He's going to pull it. Yes, he is. Shiro losing about 2/3 of his HP, but not taken out of the game just yet. Rafale is low. Renshiro is low. It won't take too much for Cyclops to finish those 2 off. However, BDS with this vertical control now being established, just slowly forcing Cyclops back. It's always a thing. This kind of overwatch you get from above is enough to try and move people around. But 15 seconds, Ace. BDS need to pull the trigger. Reading is the point of plant for Brede. Another one added to his tally if they can complete it off, which I'm pretty sure they can. But Suzushi, the one on the flank here, finds one. Gets the down with that Vector onto Rafale. This is in place. Shotgun out on side. Irrigator dropped down by Blackray. I think not by Blackray, by Shaiko, sorry. Blackray finding one back, forcing us into a 2 versus 2 as Irrigator is down. He finds another. No way does he clutch it out. His friend Shiro upstairs. They've got to know about this. They're going to go for the res as well, Ace. Into the 1 versus 2. Renshiro's got about 10 seconds to hold on, but they need to win the vertical angle. And my God, have they got some cheeky angles. Frags coming through, almost catching him out. 15 seconds to play. They've got to start sticking it right now. And Renshiro surely can clutch this one out. Might be able to see his man. Steps over mute season first, going for the spray. Can't connect.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it, Des.
No, he gets down at the last second, about 0.3 on the clock. Irrigator's not going to have the time. Renshiro, a massive 1 versus 2.
How calm was he in that situation? First good decision from Renshiro is the nade down to the door. Maybe could have left it a little bit later, but that's just hypercritical. It was a great decision. Bang, drop your explosive down. Just stop them being able to push in there. Absolutely fantastic start from him. Then moves on and manages to find the angle, and we were all panicking, Des. We all wondered whether he was going to do it or not. They were ready. Cyclops in there. They were going to stick that, and I'll be interested to see how much time was left on the clock.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm watching because I've got like feeds set up on every single screen here. I feel like I'm a network administrator or something with how many screens I've got to look back at replays here, and we'll see it come back up in just a second, at least on our own little feeds here, to see exactly how close that clock went. But it looked to me to be about 0.3 seconds or so. I'm watching it now as it goes down to the final one. 0.1. No way. 100 milliseconds on the clock, Ace. Oh my word.
Des, you know well enough how many times have I spoken about Renshiro and what he does for this team, and that is just another example of it. Just being able to find those clutch moments whilst Renshiro's alive. There is a possibility that you win that round, and the thing is, it's a shame for Cyclops. We've got to accept that as well, because they really did go for it there at the end of that round. They threw everything at it. They managed to get themselves the opportunity to close it out, but 0.1 of a second, that is rough. And you look towards the end of this game, imagine this one goes 7-5 and there's only realistically 1 round in it. You start looking back at that round, and that could be the difference. That's the beauty of Siege, Des. It can all come down to the finest of margins.
We've seen so many close rounds over the last few months. I can think of the clock, you know, screen grabs of it, I think 0.076 we saw at one point in EU.
Yep.
Just how close this is getting down to. That's like, it's not like you can even time or plan for those moments. I'm not going to say it comes purely down to luck, but one bullet goes astray or the headshot doesn't connect and it's another chest shot required to get the kill. Chances are that defuse goes through. Absolute madness. Let's see how round 2 plays out.
Great timing from Suzushi on the Kaid there. Not sure if he maybe heard the beeping of the Rotero drone on its way in, but he was certainly prepped for it. Straight out of the rotation he went and shut it down. Still doing a little bit of renovation inside the site, just opening up some of those angles. Now, Breeder just looking to open up the white garage. Shaiko's already inside of bar. He's going to hold down the double door there. So the defense of Cyclops need to be very careful on their rotations here. But there's only a couple of them playing in sight at the minute. This is going to have to be a top floor clearance all the way down from BDS.
0.179 we had confirmed by our replay operator Jacob, by the way. Ludicrously close.
Renshiro's going off.
Too many more of those. Yep, Renshiro's already finding another one here. It's after a clutch round. Starts out with the opening kill onto Blackray, a man who's been a bit of a terror for Cyclops. Good start for the French side, showing that they can control this early aggression coming out of Cyclops.
Renshiro just going to keep holding that same angle. I don't think anybody else will put their head up above the parapet and give him the opportunity to be shutting it down. Gatarada just misses the opportunity to take the Rotero drone down there. I think it'll go on into sight, although I don't hear an explosion, so might have been taken out inside. We'll see if there's some missing utility next time we find ourselves inside of the kitchen. Alems just playing into that small bakery, looking to hold down the long angle towards Shaiko down in bar. BDS, they've got the surround, but what's going on with this Mozzie of Gatarada? I'm not sure if Alems is aware of his presence here, Des.
I don't think he is.
Oh, no, he is. He is.
I
he
mean,
knows he's there.
Oh, now you've seen the yellow ping come through. Absolutely, yeah. Flash coming up at least to distract him out here as well. God bless yellow ping. You would have thought that would be quite hard to find as well, given the mute Mozzie Vigil setup coming out of Cyclops. Very disruptive to information gains. Good against these more structured, coordinated teams where Cyclops have, benefited from beating throughout the major so far with relative ease in quite a few cases. BDS being the one challenge that they haven't yet been able to get past. Today could be the time if they can quite figure this out. Anderson playing above on the vertical above red. And Shiro, everyone else gathering out towards the west, and this might be the push they're looking for. If Anderson finds that kill, this is a very different conversation. The push comes up. Gatarada's a little bit better than Alems here. Finds himself taken down, but the long angle cannot be challenged because of the flash coming in. Brede, plant number 2 coming up. He's going for gold here at the Siege Olympics, I think, Ace. It's going to get stuck.
A lot of missing HP on the side of BDS, and it's another situation where you know that Cyclops have got an opportunity here. 4 versus 2. They've got to get the retake. It could be down to Renshiro. Manages to find one onto the returning Anaton. Rafal going big as well out of Bakery. Just looking to serve up a tasty treat. Renshiro it is that manages to deliver though with the kill onto Gatarada. Suzushi in sight. Last alive. Renshiro's gone big here. He's on the quad kill. Could find the ace, but no. Rafal takes it away, and that is all down to the dynamic duo of Rafal and Renshiro once again doing the business after Brede puts the diffuser down.
Madness. Absolute madness. The right idea from Cyclops. We saw a team abuse this. I think I want to say it was SSG coming up against Na'Vi on day 1. They were trying to play down red stairs, and the long angles were being challenged by saves. And even in EU and APAC in the regular season, we've seen teams pushing down this red angle and holding it as the defenders to challenge the long angle coming in through prep. Forces the attackers to ignore Bakery and instead have to move towards taking coat check. And swinging on those stairs, not so easy. But a really good use of flashes coming out of BDS there. Something you don't see all that much. Committing 2 or 3 upstairs, not for the utility clear, but to genuinely flash out a player so he couldn't challenge Brede as he ran in towards Rice and got the plant down. Really good play from BDS, well coordinated, and because they aren't taking control of large parts of the map, here Cyclops are kind of left just playing with scraps and morsels, trying to find whatever they can on the side of BDS.
Cyclops need to turn their attention to the site. Brede keeps getting in there. He's like water getting into rocks and cracking them open. He'll always find a way, the smallest of opportunities, and he will get inside there and do some serious damage. And that's exactly what's happened in round 1 and 2. Brede able to successfully get that diffuser down. Team supporting him very well in order to allow him to do so as well, and Cyclops maybe just need to focus on that. It was pretty heavy roam game last time. I think there was 3 players at least off site, and maybe that's just creating these windows for Brede to get in there and get that diffuser down. Maybe a little bit more of a site-centric approach from Cyclops from here on out.
That's what you love to see. Yeah, I think it's
the Echo, not a massive surprise.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, Echo we spoke about a lot for all teams that like running it. I think of Empire, I think of Na'Vi in that mix. We had a couple of the NA teams starting to rock it yesterday as well. We don't see tons of it over in APAC. I could think of Fav that run it sometimes when playing on Clubhouse. Always with the Supernova, by the way. Remember, a pretty impressive 3k as the team came pushing in through Moto for the player that was wielding the Supernova, but I do forget who. Here, a bit of a step away from that Intel denial focus, still bringing the mute, of course, a really powerful operator for pretty much any map where things can get a little bit tight through single doorways, for example. No Mozzie on side and no Vigil this time round.
5 seconds left.
Mute jammer just going to be placed underneath that skylight there. Just prevents any drones dropping down. They could potentially take a leap over there. We've just got a quick run out the old Prisma put outside. Why not? You know, let's mix it up. The thing is, you're wondering why that's been done. It's disruptive because you're going to get that opponent detected outside, the identity hidden just on your screen constantly until taken down. Renshiro is able to do that from distance. It's also the possibility of somebody just taking a pot shot at it, thinking, oh, Alibi's run out here, take a quick pot shot, and then they get pinged out. But it's not really going to do much against a team like BDS.
2 or 3 every single round, looking to be at a window, a doorway, some kind of, I don't want to say so much a gimmick, but some kind of cheese to try and catch BDS off. I understand it. But the caution that BDS are taking, a team that normally we commend for being really good with the clock and having sometimes 60, 70 seconds left when they start thinking about an execute, they're using that extra time they normally find themselves left with later in the round because they're so efficient in the mid-round to make sure they get to the building safely inside the first 60 seconds. It's taken a fair while to get on the roof, but they are now up there and can start thinking about their movement forward.
Also interesting to remember how this matchup factors into the group. Group A, BDS, if they win, they will qualify for the playoffs. Could be first, could be second. We'll see how the rest of the day shapes up, but almost certainly going to be top of the group, I would have said. Black Ray, top of the pile there as he finds a kill onto Rafal to open things up. That's the Nomad gone. Not sure how many of those air jabs had been deployed. I've heard at least one, but they could be lacking on some of the flanks, something that Cyclops could possibly expose later in the round. But the important factor here is Cyclops. I spoke about Team 1 being able to still get through if they win both of their games. That is reliant on Cyclops losing here. If Cyclops gets the win, that's it for Team 1. They're not going to be able to get themselves through. So it's going to be a big ask. Well, I say that they could still potentially surpass BDS, but that would mean Sonics would have to beat BDS as well. So we're getting into fine marginal territory there. But BDS winning here certainly keeps that battle between Cyclops and Team 1 alive because, of course, they play each other on the last game of the day here on the Bravo stream, Des.
They do. I said today, it'll be a real spicy day. Every single game on the B stream, an absolute corker. Don't even missing any of those. Anderson playing on this long angle, daring someone step inside piano, but Renshiro, another opening kill coming through. He has had an incredible start. A 1v2 clutch, an entry in the last round, a 4K in the last round, and an entry again here in round number 3.
Darko just going to hold this angle onto Pixel, paying a bit of attention to bathroom as well. Yellow ping comes out. Irrigator just manages to dip back inside. It's a very quick peek. Very rapid movement there that keeps him safe. Rapid kills coming in from Gatarada and Anaton there. Brede sneaks around the back door. Des finds himself one in bar back storage. Shaiko goes for a double. Irrigator and Anaton. It's falling apart. Brede, could he make it 3 plants in 3 rounds? No! Shaiko takes it away from him. Shuts down with the final kill. 3 in the round for him. And that's going to be BDS overturning the odds to win round 3.
That's such good intuition as well from Shaiko. The call, and no doubt being made by across the team as well. Last man left alive is a mute. We can't find him. Oh, I wonder what he may have in his back pocket. And I wonder what that red pin could mean. Of course, it's going to be implying that there is going to be a C4 coming through. So the charge up towards New Hatch. Gets the kill down in towards Pillars. Really good stuff out of BDS, even with Cyclops slowing the round down so much. Worth referencing again, 60 seconds or so for BDS to get set up on the roof. Another 60 to 70 seconds to get the Flores to work, removing crucial bits of utility. And Cyclops burst back and bring it into a 4 versus 2, but the swing still comes in. BDS walking away the victors at the end of it.
We're going to be heading to Fireplace and Mining for round number 4. Cyclops just switching it up every single round so far. This is going to be their attempt at the final site on Kafe, and then they're going to have to go back and try to do something differently somewhere else. As so far, BDS, they've been able to win their attacking rounds every single time. Now, Cyclops trying to bring that unpredictability, Des. Keep BDS guessing. We've got the Tachanka.
What a surprise there. I mean, the Chanka is one of the more curious ones. You normally see this team lean towards playing things like Monty, Pash every now and then as well. I do want to reference, by the way, just how impactful their Monty has been. In the Japanese league, Monty has a 30% ban rate, mainly because Cyclops have pioneered making such strong use of it and doing lots of damage with it. So I'm really keen to see if that does get brought out in the second half. Here, maybe the Chanka has got some work to do. There is no smoke joining it, of course. You haven't got the insane stall out that you can sometimes think of when you see those two operators coming in together. One thing you do get, though, is the increased number of pellets. You now get 14 of those fire pellets since the recent change, plus more destructibility coming in from the primary. That makes short work of the site transformation projects that any team may have. As you'll see from Anderton here, one big shot comes through, and it's basically like a punch hole, all from one bullet.
That's it. You can see just how big an impact it has on those soft surfaces there, and Shiro needs to keep himself away from that skylight, or he's going to find himself with a big punch hole in his head as Anderton is just lined up, ready for the challenge onto the skylight. Moves himself away, and again, BDS, they're just a bit too smart there, as they're not going to go and peek that difficult angle and give away that cheap kill. Drones are going in. They're going to find everyone on this top floor. But top floor is going to be important for Cyclops, and it's no surprise that they've put as many men trying to hold this down as they have, because if Piano is lost particularly, they can open up the mirror window that's looking from trains into mining, and then the defense really starts to fall apart. That's when one puzzle piece gets removed, and you just sort of go step by step. Then it's becoming more and more difficult to hold down each angle. You're not covering each other.
Again! Renshi, stop, man. Give them some hope. Jesus. Man's absolutely bullying them in these last 4 rounds. Keep on mentioning it because it just keeps on happening time and time again. It is Anderton taking out those fire pellets, not going to be any use anymore. So the strong element of, making use of that, the unknown fact, we haven't really seen a Chanka be hyper effective yet in any given game. Here, still going to remain in the dark about the capabilities of that operator, at least from a Cyclops standpoint. Grenade singing through from Shaiko. Well, onto Shaiko, I say, bouncing back towards him. Lem's playing on the south window as well. The IQ, the one big change coming in for BDS is worth mentioning, dropping away from that Flores. Kind of curious to know why that's a thing.
Nade going to be dropped through the floor there. Won't do any damage. Black Ray does plenty for himself, though. Nitro onto Rafal, who's having a little bit of a slow start so far. The last couple of rounds have been difficult for him, but I tell you who's not having a slow start. Des, you've mentioned him once. I'm going to mention him again. Renshiro's coming in here at 100 miles an hour. He is 9-1, and we're only in round 4. He is unstoppable on the sledge right now. He's just causing absolute havoc inside of the server.
9 kills in 4 rounds, and I know we've been celebrating some people for walking in with 10 inside 5. Well, Renshiro might just blow that one wide open if things carry on at this level. Irongate's taking the one, but Alem's walking away as the winner. Renshi, finally, they have stopped the giant.
Look away, look away. It didn't happen. Look away. Don't do it to him.
I'm just saying he's not dead yet. So it will still stay as a 9-1. Bride going for his 4th plant of the game. Go on, take the kill. Gadarada finally putting him down. Finds the second. Okay. 2 kills coming back. Not the end of the world, but the problem is you're against arguably the scariest man in the game, Shaiko. For my money, again, one of the best support players in the world in Bride, who will find that closing kill. BDS take their 4th round on the bounce.
BDS certainly meaning business. This was what I was a little bit worried about, and I alluded to when we came into this matchup, Des. Bride and the rest of BDS have got the mentality that this game puts them in the playoffs. Simple as that. So you know they're going to bring everything. You've said it yourself. They're taking that little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra caution. And the way that I see that, Des, is they're giving Cyclops a lot of respect here. They're coming in knowing that this is a game that they could lose. This is a game that they have to take care over. They can't just come in and run into sight. They can't just come in and run blindly into the top floor. They've got to do the hard yards. They've got to pay attention, get the drones out there, find the information, play the pinchers, and use the manpower to their advantage. And that's exactly what they're doing. And I mean, BDS are looking good right now. They really are looking good.
That respect point is the big one for me, to be honest with you, because they're in a spot where they know how to take this seriously. I spoke about how slow they're taking get into the building. I would go as far as saying this isn't necessarily Cyclops playing badly either. Like, sure, there are a couple of things that look a bit wonky, but that is the thing with this very loose style. And I do want to raise this as a thing that I mentioned on Twitter earlier on today. People would historically look at Cyclops or other APAC teams' play style and go, it's erratic, it's chaotic, it's unstructured, they're not playing Siege the way it should be played, right?
It's not, it's
now
just
the conversation. That's it. The conversation is now moving to, it's an APAC play style. It's very loose, it's very aggressive, but it's committed at the very least. And the problem is when someone gets caught on a rotate back, or Anderton back in round 1, ran into a frag grenade, everyone's like, what the bloody hell is he doing? It's because he's trying to play that more agile game, and it was a really good read by the side of BDS, to be fair to them. So don't take it away as they're strictly playing terribly. This is on BDS having one of the strongest performances and most respectful performances I've seen out of them in a long time.
I tell you now, there's most teams in this tournament would be struggling to play against this BDS side today. You know, yes, Cyclops have tried to do some things a little bit differently. It's not always panned out. But honestly, you play any game you want into this BDS side right now. Shaiko's hitting his shots. Renshiro's just dismantling them. Breeder, we've got 3 plants in 4 rounds. You know, they're finding the space. They're creating the space. They're just doing very, very well. BDS right now would be difficult to break down, and it's because of the level of attention that they're paying to the detail inside of this game. Now, both hatches going to be opened up on the top floor. BlackRay just looking to play aggressively underneath one on the Melusi. Could catch somebody out, but needs to be careful. Shaiko's at the top of red stairs, and once he figures somebody's there, you know he's going to go and challenge. That's exactly what he does. Renshiro with an interesting nade bounce off the skylight there. Manages to just take a little bit of chip damage, but doesn't do too much as BlackRay escapes once again.
Someone's catching me on the way back through in the same way they caught Anaton in round number 1. He was being that little pest hanging around top side of New Hatch, just looking to shoot off those pellets on the reinforced wall that goes in towards Piano, a very common wall that we're used to seeing. I think Shaika coming up definitely gave some change to consider there. Gadarada, the one hanging around inside of mining, has made his presence known. Can back away in towards Fireplace at a moment's notice, so no biggie. But again, for BDS, it's slow, it's respectful, it's trying to catch members of Cyclops out as their aggression slowly wanes and they step further back. So we're getting towards that final 75 seconds or so. But like with Liquid, Tim, I'm not really nervous about BDS being low on the clock.
No, I would agree with you. I think, you know, everything that has come so far is about getting control. It's about getting themselves into a position to plant. The one thing they need to do is get this top floor cleared out, because it's going to be difficult to do that whilst they've got 2 defenders up there. I think one has now fallen back to white stairs. Renshiro's in there, so Cocktail is not in their control. A rare slip-up coming from BDS as they don't drone out BlackRay, and he manages to get a big kill onto the man of the moment, Renshiro, taking down the sledge. That's going to be a lack of vertical destructibility beyond what is already in place. BlackRay has dropped the hatch now. He's having no further part of that. Rafale's out on the rappel, but BDS, 26 seconds to turn this one around.
Rare mistake from BDS, given how composed they've been across these 5 rounds so far. And I wonder if at this point, when you lose one part of that 5-point plan, what happens next?
Can't
Reading
open the
appears to be
castle.
the focused. You've got Anaton sat here waiting. Irrigator, a shotgun in hand. They've got to beat away fast, boys. You've got about 10 seconds. Get them pickaxes out and get digging through the rock. Finally broken open by Irrigator. They know he's here. 1, 2, goes for the swing. Can he find the man? No, but Anaton goes for the flank. Cyclops playing the disruptive play style. It goes to show you again, Ace. One small mistake, one player undroned, and Cyclops can rip you a new one.
That's exactly it. You know, BlackRay's, I mean, you don't get to pick who it is. There's a little bit of luck in there. We've got to call it as we see it. You know, you don't get to pick that it's the sledge. It was. And then it just plays in perfectly to the rest of your setup. At that point, you're like, right, we've got the sledge. The castle's intact. And it was just, you know, how big a signal do you want that that's the door they're coming in through? Then the hit to bring the barricade down. You know, at that point, it's pretty much just plain sailing for Cyclops to close out the round. But yeah, it just shows, you know, one small mistake from BDS and they're punished. They are punished. And that is just showing what we've been saying. This is not so much about what Cyclops are doing. Given the opportunity, they've won the round. It's about what BDS are doing.
It's one of those that I just look at and think, it's still like a small country trying to stage a war against a tyrannical empire here that is BDS, because they have been so dominant to date. Very regimented, very composed, very structured. The Cyclops, again, the smallest little crack in the armor they find, they blow it wide open. But I guarantee you in this round, BDS are going to double down on that structure and give them even more hell.
It's for me, a must-win round here for Cyclops. They don't want to be going into the half at 5-1. Forget about it. You basically, I spoke about this yesterday. If you're playing up against a score of 5 at the half, you're basically asking BDS to find one site. Find one site that they can defend successfully. If you tell me there isn't a site on Kafe that BDS can lock down twice, then we're going to have an argument, because you're wrong. BDS will close that out. So for me, this round is absolutely pivotal for Cyclops. The question is, are BDS going to make a mistake again? Is there going to be the opportunity for Cyclops to punish them? Last time around down in Kitchen, Breeder once again was able to get in and get the diffuser down. It was back in round 2, and BDS, they were very dominant in attacking this site.
I'd be really curious to know. Now, actually, I'm going to DM Lemons after this game and ask him why IQ so much here as well. I imagine there's a pretty good reason for it. I don't know if they're hoping to find people sat on drones, for example, and looking for opportunities to make runouts or whatever. Or sat on cams, not drones, sorry. Of course, they're on the defensive side. There must be a reason why they've made it so popular, because as we spoke about quite a bit yesterday, IQ not really the strongest pick at the minute. You know, maybe she had frags, a very different conversation that we're having, but there's a lot of utility being brought along when you look at, say, the Nomad and the IQ as the kind of supplementary positions to the main point of attack. However, they are making it work so far. Shaiko being on that entry position, Brede being the only supportive hard breacher on the side as well. It is working wonders for them, so it's almost like they've got 2 or 3 flex players on side here.
One factor to consider for the IQ is the potential of Anaton bringing the Vigil along. If they know that there's likely to be some Vigil play, whilst his scanner is active, he should be picked up by the IQ scanner. So, you know, that's one possibility. But like you said, any information is important in this game. Any information, you can do something with it. But usually, yes, we would see IQ playing in particular against the Valkyrie, who's banned out this time around. But opening kill comes in. It's going to be Renshiro once again losing his life early in the round. It seems to have been a little bit of a pivot from him. Big start to the game, and we're not going to start getting critical just yet. Still 9-4 and going extremely well, but just a quiet couple of rounds from him.
What I will say is it's almost like a war now for Cyclops to kill the drones of BDS, to slow down their utility game before BDS get themselves set up to look for an execute. It's kind of like a mini game before the actual execute itself. And here, BDS have got 1 drone left. You've got Shaiko's Gemini, sure, but look at it. 60 seconds to play with him. They're essentially looking to push him blind here. And knowing how agile Cyclops are as a team, they can't honestly hope to know that they're going to be sat in specific locations because they move around so much. In this spot, you got 1 playing up on red again. You got a couple trying to spray out down here in towards restaurant. So much to think about. Great from Shaiko to hold the reverse angle that got made. But Suzu Shi strikes again for the 2nd time in the round, bringing down a Lems.
4 versus 3, 26 seconds left to go, and we're finding BDS in that position. It just feels like Cyclops have settled a little bit here. Anaton settles a bullet into the brain of Rafal as he manages to get a kill. Shaiko elsewhere in the map finds one onto Irrigator. We find ourselves still only 1 man different here. 3 versus 2. It's in the advantage for Cyclops. There's a big kill onto Shaiko. It leaves 3D all alone. 1 versus 3, 6 seconds. Into a Banshee he goes. This round is done. Forget about it. He manages to secure the kill. Has to try and put the plant down. Comes off it as the challenge comes in. And that's going to be Cyclops winning a must-win round.
Really doesn't care that he was getting pushed at the end. He was like, guys, I have a job. It's to put the diffuser on the ground at least once around.
That's all he understands. That's all he understands. I need to get the diffuser down.
It's like playing touch rugby. Just like touch the ground. Done my job. That's it, boys. We're going okay. Good little rally towards the back end of that half for Cyclops there. I feel like they kind of started to adapt to BDS a little bit, admittedly. Renshiro, a massive driving force at the very start of that game because, again, 0.179 seconds on the diffuse. Round 1 could have gone the way of Cyclops. So although it feels at the back end of it like Cyclops have kind of nicked a couple of rounds from a very dominant BDS, they didn't have a bad half, strictly speaking.
No, I'd agree. I think, you know, there's certainly an argument there to say that could easily have been 3 apiece. You know, and we're having a very different discussion. BDS, have they looked dominant? Absolutely. Of course they have. The first 3 or 4 rounds particularly, they really did look like they were going to run away with this. But Cyclops, they've dug their heels in. They're showing some good resolve. They're showing some good resilience. And they're going to keep themselves fighting on Kafe. They need to take the onus now. That's the big thing. They need to come in. They need to find those shock and awe plays. They need to disrupt the defense of BDS. And they need to, for me, get themselves around the 2 quite quickly on the board here. Let BDS know that they're in for a game and they're not going to have this easily. Let's just remind everybody at home as well the stakes that are resting on this matchup. Whoever wins this will be qualified for the playoffs. This is big.
You know what I really like here straight away? Rafal moving over to the clash. We saw this kind of the shield standoff. The unstoppable force against the immovable object of Clash versus Monty. We saw it on Clubhouse yesterday. I think from Rafal, it's a really smart choice of BDS, who wouldn't often bring this along to adapt and deal with what Cyclops are known for doing, and that is Anaton running along on the Monty. In this round, it's not there. It's playing on the Twitch instead. Suzu Shi playing on the Decay is going to help them out. That is a wicked shot coming out of Black Ray.
Brilliant opener from Cyclops once again, and that's exactly what they needed here. As the halves have switched, just get in there and keep that momentum rolling. They've won round 5, they've won round 6, and now they've got the entry in round 7. And Just seeing that clash on side though, Des, it just, you know exactly which kill immediately that I'm going to talk about. It takes me screaming back to SI 2021 for BDS. The clash was stood on Pixel Corner and Shaiko got a kill that nobody has any right to get. Just peeked out from there onto the small bar window and just absolutely decimated a man. It was, you could see his soul leave his body when that kill went down.
It's funny because the same thing happened for Anaton again on day one playing against the Sonics, I think it was, having a player following the Monty around and just taking pot shots from behind a shield and finding the kills. It's always happened in reverse for the side of BDS. We'll keep a close eye on how that shield storyline develops as the game progresses. Grenade coming in from below, hoping to find someone, I think, on the back of the phone call. No one's actually playing here on the soft ground inside of storage because they're aware of the likelihood of Black Ray getting away with magic here. In come the smokes. They push their way, and Shaiko's not bad by the air jump here. Needs to find a way of getting in as more flashes come raining through. They need to push it through the smoke. The spray going just over the head of Suzu Shi. They pulled it off in a 5 versus 4 here, Ace. 4 man still left alive on either side. Now the clash providing cover. Can they shoot through it? Is this going to be the biggest brain play we've seen yet coming out of BDS? They can't do anything about it. They're getting away. The grenade over the top. It downs 2! A double kill coming out for Cyclops, but we're into a 2 versus 2. Clash getting itself picked back up. Anaton, Black Ray, they've got to keep this one going. 20 seconds to play with. They're going to try it yet again. They've got one angle. Where's the next, though? They're expecting him to come stepping around. Brede going to try and go for the disable here. They push round. They should be able to melee this out the way. They find Brede. It's a scrap in the back corner. The Cyclops are going to win.
Oh, Des, this game just got underway. This one kicked off. What a play from Cyclops. What did I talk about? Coming in, they need to disrupt the defense, and that's exactly what they did. You need piano, Des, to put the diffuser down. You need piano control to get in there. Absolutely not. Just straight into cocktail, diffuser down. It was a risky play, and with risk, with great risk, can come great reward. And Cyclops, they get themselves back within 1, and they tell BDS that there is a game on here, and that playoff spot is certainly not theirs just yet.
They're fighting their way back. That's the scariest
Unbelievable.
part. After those first 4 rounds as well. 3 on the bounce, Tim. It's what you want to see. And I agree with you. Like, I don't think I've ever seen an execute like that because, again, the beauty of it was the smoke comes through, they get the air jabs down, the flashbangs are chucked through at the same time. Shaiko can't go and just step through that and challenge, and the clash has to wait a couple of seconds as well. Just really smart coming out of Cyclops and catching BDS completely off guard with absolute thunderous applause. Love to see it.
It's, again, one of them that... I'm not... it's surely going to have BDS saying, what are they doing? Why? What are they... How has the plant gone down? How have they planted in cocktail? What are they doing? But they just keep delivering those moments, and we keep talking about, is this sustainable? Will they keep winning rounds and games like this? And right now, the answer is yes, they will. They
You know
are.
what, Tim? I'll take this every day of the week because for so long, what we've seen, and what we do often say about a number of teams in Europe is, oh, they're a little bit slow here. They're a little bit timid. They're not willing to take risks and go crazy. Cyclops are saying, look, we might lose the odd round pulling out some wacky stuff, but at least we can say we came with a good plan and we gave it a go, and we can always adapt for next time. It provides such entertaining siege, and every game throughout this tournament, it has been a joy to watch the APAC teams, and I'm so glad that we might see a couple of them going through to playoffs. This game's still got to be done, but for me, BDS are the representation, the last stand, not so much the last stand, but one of the last stands for the West to say we can combat this play style. They started strong for 4 rounds. Cyclops are now fighting back.
It's great. Is it pure siege, as a concept? Probably not. Is it pure entertainment? Absolutely. And I am living for it, as I'm sure is everybody watching the stream right now. This is brilliant, but it's also meaning that BDS, they're going to start doing things a little bit differently that we don't always see. Out comes the Tachanka onto the bottom of White Stairs, but out comes the nade from Black Ray onto Brede, shuts the man down. A big entry once again. Cyclops starting to dominate the early rounds, and right now, Des, BDS, I'm going to whisper it, they look a little bit rattled.
I mean, for Brede to die in the entry engagement, let me just kind of set this in context. He was involved in 5 entry engagements across 9 games in EUL. He is like the most, not so much passive support player, it feels like the wrong word to use, but most safe support player I've seen in a long time. For him to get caught by that, like that by Black Ray, that's a little concerning, to be honest with you. It's very uncharacteristic for Brede. But I did want to say, Reaper, I imagine, is rattled. As a man who loves his purest siege,
It's taken you 3 days, Des.
Mate, to mention Reaper, I'm surprised it's taken me this long. And I know that he's on the German stream right now, probably muttering expletives under his breath. It's one of them. But my God, is it beautiful to watch. Let's see, though. They found that entry kill. The question now is, what can they do with the rest? They haven't bothered with vertical control, but they've got two inside of Freezer and Shiro. Burning hot fire inside of Freezer. A mix of hot and cold can put up a bit of a firestorm. And that's exactly what Cyclops are cooking up. They've got something special for BDS in the oven. They're taking it out. C4 comes through. Nice for Shaiko. A 2 versus 2. Rafal, Shaiko against Black Ray and Iagator.
Shaiko had something special cooked up for them there. Black Ray starts to get that diffuser down. I'm not sure if Rafal's aware. He does switch onto the Yokai. He's not going to have time though, Des. He's left it too late. The diffuser goes down again. 2 versus 2 now. Iagator and Black Ray effectively flip to the defensive side now. They need to lock this down. It's all on BDS to find a retake here. There are air jabs out. There's utility in place to try and assist. Iagator shut down by Shaiko. Rafal, he's going for that disabled, but Black Ray comes down. Big kill. Can he get the second? No, surely not. Shaiko dances across the door. This is tense. Black Ray just holding his angle. Can he find the kill? Yes! Shut down Shaiko with a headshot, and Cyclops somehow steal another round from under the nose of BDS.
Unbelievable, Tim. 4 rounds on the bounce.
It's unbelievable, Tim.
We were saying BDS are 4-0 up. They look absolutely incredible. The structured play, the time they're taking, letting Cyclops run around saying, look, when you kids are done running around and treating this like a play park, we'll come in and show you what real Siege looks like. But Cyclops, the last 4 rounds, these last 2 especially, have been something special. Some awesome executes coming out. I do not remember the last time I saw a team ignore the second floor and focus solely on getting the freezer wall open and going for a plant that way. It is magical stuff. My voice was fried last night on the podcast that we did. I can already feel it going again because it's one of them, Tim. You've just got to scream and celebrate what amazing Siege we're seeing.
Who needs more than 4 hours sleep? That's what I'm asking right now. I'm absolutely tip-top. My energy levels are bang up there thanks to Cyclops, and I'm sure that plenty of other people feel exactly the same way, because right now we're in a situation, Des. We thought BDS would be coming out of this securing that playoff spot, but they just might not. And I tell you what, Des, I'll tell you another thing. I'm just going to have a quick look at the groups because I want to make sure I'm right before I say this, and I am. BDS could be fighting for their lives, Des, in the next game.
They could. They could.
If they lose against, it's a big if, but if they lose against the Sonics, having lost against Cyclops here in regulation time, there's a lot that has to go against them. But if they were to lose here in regulation and to lose to the Sonics, Team 1 win both of their games against the Sonics and Cyclops, then Team 1 and Cyclops go through. BDS are not safe.
Imagine a world. Imagine a world where a major like this and a group like this doesn't have BDS going through, given they were the only team on the first day to go undefeated, alongside Liquid, of course, but in their group, the only one to go undefeated and look solid. And here they are, rattled somewhat by an APAC team. But, Tim, we shouldn't get too excited because BDS are still in this. They had a prolific first half. It's still 4-4. Dare we say that magical word that often follows us around, Tim? Is that what we want to see?
I mean, it's looking that way right now, isn't it? The thing is, getting to overtime will suit BDS because it guarantees them a point, and that I'm pretty sure I'd have to really look into it in depth. But I'm 99% confident in saying that if they get a point from overtime, then that will secure them and they'll go through to the playoffs. Because if Team 1 tie up with them, then I think BDS are... Oh no, there's 1-0 on the head-to-head. I'd have to look into this way more. So I'm not even going to say that. Oh my word, Des. This is absolutely wild right now. And the storylines just start writing themselves. It's absolutely beautiful. 4-4, we come into this. 1 minute and a half left to go. The Monte is pushing in. We've got the Monte, Des.
And here he is. And they found it as well. The coordination is there. But the C4 from downtown from Alems. Nice. Good way to shut it down. They expected this push to come in. They had an answer. Good adaptation from BDS to deal with that. And now the onus goes on to Cyclops to adapt without 2 of their picks. However, do you really need to adapt when Gatarada can take the head off Shaiko without taking a single bullet? Maybe not.
Going to say adapt to that. There's absolutely nothing that you can do. Shaiko shut down, and that's going to leave us now 3 versus 3. 1 minute left to go. The attack here, of course, coming on to Reading. Still don't have full top floor control. We can see one man remaining. It's Renshiro in Cocktail. He's going to just hold his position for as long as possible next to that hatch. It is only a Gemini decoy. Don't get overexcited. He hasn't pulled a Black Ray just yet, keeping himself off the radar. He's going to have to drop away soon, but he wants to take a challenge, I think. Before he does, he wants to try and take one with him. There's also a little bit of support on White Stairs. Renshiro ultimately will hit the fadeaway as he shoots through the soft wall, dropping down the hatch. Doesn't manage to find anybody though, but not a lot of time for Cyclops to work with here.
Now, they've got to make it work here and now, Tim, the way I'm looking at it. 20 seconds on the clock. It's got to be a pretty aggressive push in. You've still got 2 players inside the site. Renshiro lay down. Do they know here? Because the grenade's being cut. In comes the smoke grenade. Comes into the backside as well. They might have had an idea. They don't see him. Sprays through the smoke, but finds nothing. He's down to a cylinder of HP. The double C4 coming out of Brede. That's what you're looking for from your supportive backline. Irrigator left in a 1 versus 3 with no time on the clock. BDS win down to time.
Renshiro might not have been able to find them, but Brede certainly could with what could be a crucial Nitro. And Des, this just keeps bringing me back into my mind to a certain 0.179 seconds.
The magical round 1. And this is the thing. We always say at the time, we might speak about this later on and look back at it. That is probably what's going to happen if this keeps on going all the way up towards overtime. If that had been stuck and come off, very different conversation with Cyclops walking away with 3 rounds out the first half. Here, technical, I think it's a tactical timeout, sorry, being called in here by one of the teams, understandably so. It's got a little bit blurry in the server, I think, so far, Race. 4 rounds each, and then BDS have just managed to pull 1 round back. It is their timeout that has been called, and you can see LMs now discussing across the team, making sure they know exactly what it is they want to do. Interesting to note, by the way, I'm not sure who it is that's with them, who was behind them. Then I'm pretty sure it was someone that's kind of a manager or standing coach for them. Didn't have a headset on. So it's all about the players here having the discussion amongst themselves.
Very much so. I mean, there's an awful lot of experience across that lineup. You know, more than capable. We know Alems has got one of the best strategical brains inside of Siege, and he's, as you can see, just sort of furiously passing that information on. This is what we need to do. This is where the issues are. This is how we need to close this down. BDS have got themselves on to 5-4, but I'll bet you any money, Des, when they were 4-0 up, they didn't expect to be finding themselves 5-4. I think everybody at the Mexico Major is, you know, giving these APAC teams a lot of respect now, and they know exactly what they're capable of. But still, at that point, you feel like you've got that momentum, you're cruising, you're going to move through and take that win. But Cyclops was fighting tooth and nail. APAC giving up absolutely nothing here.
See what happens then in round number 10. The clash was hovered for a second, and taken away for the Wamai, instead coming in for a foul in this case. So no shield play, but this is the kind of stuff that I look at, and when I see it, I just think, oh, CAG, you're doing it again. The Glaz, the Capital, the smokes raining through Supreme. You are going to see a really spicy smoke-based execute coming out here unless BDS can shut it down in the early rounds.
I mean, European fans are looking at this, Des, and thinking, you know, we really need BDS to come through here and get themselves secured in the playoffs, because nobody else is safe from Europe. That's the reality. G2 have struggled so far. They can still make it, but it's going to take a mammoth effort from them today. You've got Empire. They're going to have to fight against Invictus, another tough APAC side that are getting wins, that are taking names. BDS really did feel like the best hope for Europe to get themselves secured in those playoffs. But right now, there is nothing secure about this.
Okay, got a little bit of a reset. And let's see how things play out from here. But again, with the strat coming in from Cyclops, I'm mildly excited about what might come through them. The one we've seen them do a few times with things like this is normally when you get them just kind of spamming a load of smokes into the site, you'll leave, say, Anderson playing up on the skylight looking to shoot through smoke, for example. We've got to consider as well with the Kafe on side that they don't really have, or at least BDS's side, don't have anywhere safe to sit and play.
Absolutely not. Like you say, those phone calls can come in Very disruptive. Just give away the location of roamers, of people trying to hold angles. Black Ray just sending a nade up there. Not going to find anybody. Unsuccessful on this occasion. Just looking general area in barback storage. Doesn't manage to take the shield out either. Now a second is going to come out, but once again just finds himself unlucky as the man moves away from where he was a second before. But Olems doesn't move, Des, and Black Ray manages to thread the eye of a needle through the joists and just shuts the man down. And that's another opener for Cyclops, and another round that we're going to be on the edge of our seats.
Won't be able to pull that one off for long. Sledge losing that SMG potentially. Income smoke number 1. Glaz is on the window. They're looking for a similar execute again, but the thing you got to worry about is on the side of BDS. They've seen this before. They may have an answer. Is Renshiro looking for a jump out here? I think he might be considering it. Sees the man on the upside down, goes to the jump out. He can find 3. No, Addison with the reverse finds Renshiro. Great way to stop what could have been absolute catastrophe for Cyclops, because I'm pretty sure Renshiro saw those 2 men on rappel and thought, that's 2 easy kills for me.
Anaton having absolutely none of that, and it's never easy to make a challenge from the rappel like that. Your angles are always limited as to just how far you can look round, so great play from him. 4 versus 3. We've got Shaiko on about half health on the Arune. Out comes another one of those smoke grenades. Ayagator finds Rafal on an attempt to jump out again, I think there, and that leaves us 4 versus 2. The pressure's mounting. Shaiko's low health. There could be an opportunity for Cyclops to get in and get the diffuser down, but they're aware. Shaiko tries to move round on the flank through piano, will be unsuccessful. Ayagator shuts down 1, shuts down 2, closes out the round. We're back to 5. Oh, we're going to 12.
What is mental about that is that attack wasn't massively different to what we saw out of Cyclops earlier on. Another east side take. BDS knew this was a thing, and I thought maybe we'd see C4s being a thing, but even Cyclops appeared to anticipate that. They played it so smart, getting control downstairs, finding that reverse angle dome coming out of Black Ray. Look at the zoomed in replay here just to see the exact pixel angle that he caught. It was something beautiful, and Ayagator did absolute work. Anaton, to my mind, saved that round with that reverse angle swing onto Renshiro on the jump out. If a team like Cyclops doesn't know how to deal with jump outs after all the jump outs they do, no one can.
Have you got that coin again, Des? I've absolutely no idea where this is going to go. It's on an absolute knife edge.
Come on, Ace.
Right
Come
now.
on, Ace. Give it to me. What are you saying?
I think it's going to have to be Cyclops heads, isn't it?
Cyclops heads. Or got tails.
I don't even remember if we were right yesterday. We made the joke, we tossed the coin, and then I can't even remember if it ended up right or not. Well, the coin has spoken. It says BDS, and that is how close this is. This is 50-50 right now. BDS on the defense. So far, only with 1 successful defense, and that was in the reading room. This time, they're going to go down to kitchen. We saw it in round 8, and Cyclops were able to get that plant down. If you remember, there's route 1 through freezer, plant down just over the threshold. It came down to a 1v1, but they won it out, and they win it out again and get themselves the match point opportunity, get themselves the playoff spot match point opportunity.
It could come down to that. I mean, looking at the shield coming in now as well, if they can press ahead and get themselves up to 6 and 5, BDS and Europe start to sweat, as you mentioned about that next game. Truthfully, the thing is, we came into this all the same BDS should win it, and we're like, okay, well, we expect this to be the outcome. Turns out we're all absolutely trash at our jobs and should no longer be doing predictions. I'd say we throw it to the wolves and let Reddit and Twitter start predicting instead, and we'll throw in, I don't know, Fabian's mom can start voting or something as well. Whatever they want to do, that can be the 3rd vote on our desk in future, because they'll probably do just as good a job with how unpredictable these games have been from start to finish.
The Mexico Major has been tough to make the calls. Now then, Anaton, he's going to be rushing into the small bakery kitchen there. He's going to have to just stop his progress for a second to take out a goo mine. Legion almost certainly being brought along to try and deal with this exact threat. Shaiko, he manages to find a threat with a nitro onto Ayagator. Manages to take the man down. Black Ray just missing the head of Renshiro behind there. Now then, out goes that goo mine just to prevent Anaton from pushing up onto the window and feeding information back in. Meanwhile, Maverick working on that reinforced wall in the bakery to get it open, so that may just give a little bit of exposure to the plant spot for Cyclops.
No, they've got one to deal with above here. They've even got the ping coming through. You can see it on your screen now. That 4 ping indicating that Vigil was playing up above. We're going to try and catch him here, potentially playing him with a grenade up onto the up floor. That seems to be the game plan, but the Vigil has backed away, I think, for a second, so not quite going to be a thing. BDS, mindful of once you've been spotted upstairs inside of that train room, chances are someone's going to be chucking nades at you or pushing you, or in general, just threatening your well-being.
Just taking a few pot shots in through the soft wall there. I'm just having a look what sort of breach. No, they maybe don't want to risk getting Black Ray that close up to the wall. There is the potential to just use a couple of magazines and shoot it out, but it's open one way or another. In comes a big nade from Suzuki there, managing to get Renshiro, but not before Alems finds one for himself, and that leaves us now 4 versus 3. BDS still in control of this one, but not for long, as Suzuki goes in and absolutely deletes Rafal. Starts to think about getting the diffuser down, but with Gatorada down but not out, it's not going to be easy. And there we go, 2 versus 3. Diffuser not going to go down. Brede finds the kill. Lem's doing the job as well. Anaton finds one. 16 seconds left to go. Surely he can't recover the diffuser. Get it planted and survive here. He's got no other choice. The push is going to come forward as the diffuser's going down. They've got 3 seconds here, BDS, to do something about this. Shaco finds the man, and BDS will be the ones with the opportunity to push themselves into the playoffs through regulation time.
Oh, baby, it's at that time. If this ends 7-5 now for BDS, it would be the expected outcome, but my God, has it been a road to get there. It did enough to shut down the Monty there, that opening C4 kill onto Irrigator. A big part of that, I think. Otherwise, the execute comes off far stronger with the Capitao on side, because realistically, that moves some of the smokes they had to be able to block off, for example, the red rotate. In general, just to cut members of BDS out of the picture entirely. It's a good starting kill. And again, it all trickles downhill. It turns from a snowball into an avalanche the longer the round goes. The smaller things in the round, that's what you got to keep a close eye on. The final round of regulation will be on reading and fireplace. Another very anti-info comp coming out of BDS on the defensive side. And Cyclops, stick or twist, they stick. The Monty's back again.
If BDS win this, it's worth remembering again that they have won this map effectively by 0.179 seconds. That is how close Cyclops were to disabling the activated diffuser in round 1. Renshiro finding the shot that won the round for BDS. 0.179 seconds different. And Cyclops win that round, and we're potentially facing a situation of overtime rather than a 7-5 BDS win. The finest of margins here. It could be heartbreaking for Cyclops in the long run, depending how the rest of the day plays out for them. But if nothing else, they can come away from this matchup, Des, and they can hold their heads high, because they have run one of the best European teams in BDS, one of the best teams in World Siege on their day. They have run them to the very wire so far, and there is still a possibility that Cyclops run them beyond that wire.
That's the thing when this group gets complicated, right? Is when we start thinking about those overtime results and how the points start stacking up, for example. It would be sheer chaos, because then we have to start looking at, for example, the head-to-head, the win percentage on maps, for example. All those things just start baking into it if Team 1 could pull off a little bit of a miracle later on. Time will tell. We'll see how things press forward, because thinking on it, actually, for Team 1, if they win their 2 games and go up to 10 points and draw with a team that loses in overtime here, they would have...
I think they end up on the same... I had a quick look, and off the top of my head...
Team 1 would have lost 2 in regulation. And I'm saying here, if it goes into overtime, right, I'm pretty sure, no matter what happens in this game, if it goes to overtime, Team 1 cannot make it. These 2 teams then get locked in.
Team 1 could have 3 wins, so the map win percentage could be 50%, and that's where Cyclops would stand.
No, but this is the thing. I think that percentage, surely that counts as well overtime, and that comes into consideration, whether or not you win regulation versus overtime.
We'll check into it, but generally speaking, I think it's usually picked up. Irrigator manages to, let's not speculate ourselves. We'll ask the people who know, and just get into the depth of that. We'll bring you all the stats and all the information of how it might play out. Don't you worry, Lems. He's going to lose his life. Rafal's going to lose his. Des, this is going one way. Irrigator's got himself a 2k, and we could be going into that overtime situation. I can say that whoever wins in overtime will still secure the playoff position. It will put them on 11 points, which will be clear of the 10 that Team 1 can achieve. So the 2-point winner is still enough for playoffs.
Oh boy, I mean, Irrigator is showing here how hard he was missed in the last round. In that first one being C4'd out, another one coming in. Blackray finds it. Tim, these overtimes, they just keep on following us, but it's Shaiko and Bride. We said earlier on in the match, if you want any two players to be in a clutch situation like this, it's most likely to be them. The back line, the front line, working in harmony to try and push back the side of Cyclops, but the fear is you're against the Monty. They get one more kill, that Monty is going to walk at them and bully them. You're against one of the best and brightest in APAC in that regards.
Anaton's just given the information there that Shaiko was playing inside of the service room, but Anaton does get shut down. Blackray, however, finding the kill onto Bride to trade it out. It's all down to Shaiko Des to keep them out of overtime. Suzushi getting the diffuser down. He can't do a thing. He can't move. There's just utility flying in at him. There's bullets from above, and that's going to close it out. We're going all the way to overtime between BDS and Cyclops.
Ooh, alrighty. It's getting spicy, boys. We get another best of 3, and it's BDS starting on the defense. We've seen the teams fly and flourish in that first half on the attacking side of things, taking 4 rounds on the attack. Based on history, you would give the lean towards Cyclops here, who again step in towards playing the Monty. This will be interesting. The stick or twist for the Clash or the Monty. Does anyone move away? Oh, it's Anaton breaking form. Okay. Stepping across instead onto the Twitch, I imagine, which is what we've seen him use throughout the game so far. But Rafal, the one with the Clash on side, we'll keep a close eye on that.
Once again, you and I head into overtime, Des. I don't know exactly how the A stream's gone, but I dare say that we might. I mean, I think we've had a volume of games, so that will help us. But I think, again, we've probably got the highest percentage of games going to overtime.
We have to get someone. Who was the guy who did the stats for us last time at SI?
I think it was Boxy. It was Boxy last time.
Producer Simon coming out here.
Always supportive in our ears.
Was that Simon or Medics? Because it sounded like it was through an intercom.
No, it was Producer Simon.
Was it Producer Simon? Fair enough. Simon, we love you. I'm sure Medics also hates us at the same time, mind you.
Well, wait, I think it was Medics.
Now I'm really confused. We're rattled. Probably as rattled as these two teams are.
I know, that's what I'm going to say. There's plenty of rattling going on inside of the server. We're into the action phase of overtime round 1. This is round 13 overall. There is nothing to separate these two teams on the attack. They have both won 4, lost 2. Cyclops, they come in with, you would have to argue, a marginal advantage here, given that the majority of attacking rounds have been won. They are going to attack first in overtime. Blackray looking to get himself inside of the white garage very quickly. He's just going to be droning it out to begin with, but Gatorado looking to support as well. It's now or never for BDS. They had their opportunity. They were 4-0 up to begin with, and Cyclops somehow managed to just wrestle their way back into it, and BDS are going to be forever kicking themselves if they don't manage to secure this now. Lem's getting very aggressive there. Ayagator's going to be downed. It's going well for BDS so far, and Shiro trying to get the nitro out, manages to find the kill onto the downed Ayagator, prevents him being picked up, and that's a big start for BDS.
Now, I'm not superstitious, Ace, but 2 rounds ago in round 11, Ayagator was the first one dead and Cyclops lost. In the round he stayed alive, he got 2 kills and they won. Now, I'm not really a betting man, but that's the way this could work out. Anaton dropping in through the hatch on the back of a Candela, riding him on the way through. Doesn't see the man sat in behind the bar. Can I help you, sir? Yes. Here's a bullet to the face, he says. 2 kills coming in for BDS. The Cyclops having the sting removed from their tail so far in this round.
BDS looking good here in overtime. Maybe just dialed it up a notch. Maybe kicked it up a gear to try and find the traction they need to get this one over the line. It is 5 versus 3. Cyclops just taking a little bit of a break, taking a little bit of a breather inside of the round here. Let's try and get that information. They've just blocked off the potential peak from White Stairs, but it's not going to matter as Lems, he goes head on and he hits Suzushi like a train on the rappel. Shaiko finds Blackray, and all of a sudden it seems like BDS have just switched on. Gatorada finding a kill onto the down Shaiko with a nade, but he's got a lot of work to do. It's going to have to be an ace, and he's got a Clash to go up against. Almost impossible. Lems shuts him down from above, and that's going to be the round for BDS. Advantage once again. They've had a match point already, Des. They failed to close it out. Can they do it at the second time of asking, or will we see all 15?
Second bite of the cherry, as you like to say, Ace. It's a tough one, isn't it? BDS on the attacking side. Again, those first 4 rounds of this game decisively going the way of the French squad. Outside of maybe round 1, because it did come down to 0.179 seconds on the diffuser. But outside of that, it was close and pretty decisive in the 2nd to 4th rounds coming out for BDS and Cyclops. They fought their way back. 4 rounds back-to-back for them. And since then, it has gone BDS, CAG, BDS, CAG, BDS. If we're following flow, Cyclops walk away the winner in this round. And you'd look at that next round and say it all spins on a dime in that final round 15 to see if we can break that flow.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
Cyclops are going to have to bring something special here. They struggled on the defense. They go into kitchen. We saw them defend it in round 2 and round 5. They won it in 5. They lost it in 2. Cyclops didn't prevent BDS getting in and getting the diffuser down very quickly in the round that they lost here. So that's something that they need to manage. They need to be careful that they are aware of the gaps in their defense potentially. And BDS being able to walk in. What have you spotted, Des? Hit me with it.
Jackal coming out for Lems. He hasn't picked that up so far in this game. We've seen him exclusively on Flores and IQ, and this is the round that he opts to bring out the Jackal.
I mean, it sort of makes sense. Cyclops have been playing pretty heavily off-site when they've played kitchen.
Oh, it does, but it's more the change in one sudden round. You know, what's been the trigger for that? Is it how the halves have gone for them so far that they're thinking, yeah, we actually could really use a Jackal here, and they've discussed as the rounds have gone by that actually when we go on attack next, bringing along a Jackal would be a good shout. Please tell me someone shoots out the default cam. No.
Not so far. Jackal gets the Claymore down. Lem's just blocking off the white stairs peak. But this could be an absolute freebie here, Des. They've not taken out the default cam. We've spoken about small mistakes for BDS, and this could be one of them. But is somebody going to be brave enough on the side of Cyclops to take the opportunity to get out there and to make them pay for this error? Hannington, he's just holding down the rappel. Out comes the Nitro. It's an absolute mile away. Nobody is wanting to take the run out or the peak. They know there's a Claymore covering the jump out, but the white door was a potential. The bakery door was a potential. That could just be a missed opportunity.
That's what I would have got excited about. Yeah, a white door run out, but it would have mean just charging down white stairs, potentially past a couple of drones, and they'd have known what's coming. So for once, Cyclops maybe showing a little bit of restraint there, not wanting to get too chaotic and trying to deal with that. But here we go. North Bakery going to be the start, smashing their way in through this and making sure it's secured with an air jab. It's like slowly locking down different parts of the map to contain the beast that is Cyclops inside.
Oh, you can feel the tension inside of this one. Halfway through the round, and we haven't even had a coming together of any players yet, let alone a kill. But there you go. In it comes. Shaiko finds the first on Suzuki, and somehow BDS have just found another level, Des. They've just found an ability now to get these kills when they need them. Gatorada on the castle, trying to rotate around, make himself a nuisance from the red stairs. Cyclops, it's now or never. You've got to do something, otherwise you're going to be fighting into the late day. And that game against Team 1 is going to become more important than any other you've had over the last 3 days. 1 minute left to go. Lems, he can scan out. He's going to take the default cam this time. Cyclops, they've got the backs to the wall.
They have, but don't feel too pressurized just yet, because the main setup coming in from the side of BDS is again on the ground floor. If you remember last time here, Cyclops were the ones playing on the upstairs and threatening, for example, through the ceiling, but Shaiko, he threatens through walls. Black Ray even taken out 5 versus 3. Where is BDS? Because BDS go plant. I plant. In he goes. Alems finds another. BDS might have just done it, Tim. They get another. That's the closeout they're looking for. Irrigator, APAC Hearts. They break that it couldn't be a victory, but 1 point could be enough to help them get through a flawless round from BDS to close as they defeat the Cyclops 8-6.
It's not over for Cyclops yet. It is not over for APAC. But what a performance they have just put on for us there, Des. That is the best that we can ask for them, to come in and to just leave absolutely everything on the field, which they have done. Look at Black Ray's performance, 16-9. Absolutely dragging his team towards that playoff position, but BDS say no. They say not today. The spot is ours, and they will be the ones who claim it with that 2 points from overtime.
Oh, wow. What a game to start the day off. We promised you belters from start to finish on the B stream, and that one was one of the highest quality games that we have seen throughout the group stage. Every game has been fantastic. It's almost like, Tim, when you get together the 3 or 4 best teams from every region around the room, around the world, stick them in a hotel and see what happens. magic starts to fly. I really can't wait to see if these teams were to face off again in the bracket stage at some point, because I have no doubt it would be a screamer of a series.
It's been absolutely phenomenal start to the day. I'm certain that it's going to continue, because we've just got important game after important game laid out ahead of us. There's another 5 to come. I wish it was 10 days. I wish it was 15, because today I've just got a feeling that it's going to be one game after another like that, and I could watch that for the rest of the time.
Well, BDS don't have to worry about their next game, so Jackie sat there watching the French team feel happy about that victory. What do you think, Jackie? You think Cyclops can come back in and do it still?
You'd hope so, right? They showed a lot of resolve, a lot of resilience there. Round 7, man. I'm sat watching the game and I'm thinking, you know what? I mean, maybe Des has some facts behind why he's always ranting and raving about this team. They were looking sick. The plays were beautiful. The shots were ridiculous as well. Just as its own standpoint, some of the shots that came out of all of the Cyclops players had me just on the edge of my seat. Beautiful reaction times, pixel sniffing, it was disgusting. In the end though, of course, the result's all that matters, right? And this is huge for BDS. An important win, even though it's in OT, Tim, those 2 points are worth their weight in gold.
Oh, they really are. That's it now. BDS are on 11 points. You have to look at the third place team, essentially, to see if anybody could then knock them down into third place and not into the playoffs. Team 1 currently have 4 points, 2 games to go, so they can max out at 10 points, so that leaves BDS safe. They're on 11 points, they're 1 clear of the closest third place rival, so they will go through to the playoffs. It could still be in second position. Cyclops have got another game, BDS have got another game. If BDS lose to the Sonics and Cyclops beat Team 1, Cyclops would go through in the top spot, because they'd have 12 points versus BDS's 11. That's talking straightforward, no overtimes. But it's still all there in the mix. You're talking about seeding, you're talking about many other things, but the focus for me on Group A now comes down to that question of Cyclops versus Team 1. Team 1, they just have to win both of their games, and then we go down to those multi-levels of tiebreakers and who is going to come out on top. I think it will come down to a round win percentage, but we'll get that confirmed. It's just, honestly, this day is going to get better and better. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, there's never a dull moment. And someone that was constantly serving up success in that game as well, although they lost, was Black Ray Des. He was looking beautiful. I mean, that performance really did have me enthralled.
He's just making an absolute nightmare of himself around the map is the thing, Jackie. Whether it's the start of the round or the mid-round, he was the one lurking and skulking around the various rooms. And as soon as BDS push in, they leave the tiniest gap in their intel coverage, their drone play, and he's in there like a buzzard, just slaying him down, slapping him silly. And as we saw in a couple of those rounds back in the first half, if BDS did lose the early man, they couldn't really kind of put the whole plan together, and things did fall apart a bit from there. But that's to be expected. Black Ray, highly disruptive, kept them busy, matched only really by Shaiko on the other side. Really impressive showing when he's stacking up against one of the most well-known and respected gunner names in the world, including the 1v1 that you just saw here in round 8.
Oh, see, that's why I love having Jacob on replays as well. Instantly into the Black Ray highlight package. All of them just perfection. It's so sick to watch, man. An incredible game there to kick off what should hopefully be a beautiful day here on the B stream. We have the statistics for that series as well, so we can give everyone their dues, because all 10 gunners were giving it their all on the server, Tim.
They certainly were. I mean, look at that. 28 kills between Shaiko and Renshiro. A lot of those coming in the early game for Renshiro. He went a little bit quiet through the middle, and that was just about when BDS were struggling, but then came back at the end with a few more and helped his team get it over the line. We can't ignore Black Ray on the other side as well. 16 kills, really carrying the team towards that potential victory. But if nothing else, Cyclops have just put themselves one step closer by securing that point. Just great performances all round. I've got to shout Breedy out as well. 79% cost, highest in the server, tied with Gatorada, and a great game again from him. Just plants galore.
Unstoppable stuff. Des, any key takeaways for you?
I know it's not a stat that's shown, but Tim did just touch on it at the end there very lightly. Breedy and planting. It's a match made in heaven. I think in those first 4 rounds we touched on it. He was going for a plant in every single one. I think in one of them he did get denied because Shoko took the kill whilst he was going for the plant. But the other 3, the plant went down. BDS, super objective focused team. Some teams will say, right, it's kill time. We go and kill them. We wipe out all 5 players. That's how we win a round. BDS always going for those plants. When you've got a support player like Brede in your back line, it's no surprise.
No. A surprise that we have in store, though, is that we are keeping BDS here on the B stream for another game. Back-to-back matchups. The next one will be up against the Sonics. It'll be an interesting game. I can give you that fact for free. Come back for that one in a few moments when we get into BDS versus Sonics.